Thank you for hanging out with us as we provide you a little weather update as to what's happening today. Starting off the morning with some storms in northwest Arkansas, and we're going to take a look at how this storm system is progressing through the afternoon hours. Hope you're having a great one. This is also a reminder that, even in January, we can have the potential and the chance of severe weather. You know what was happening this time last year? On this date last year? I'll ask Michael Bennett, our director. Do you know what was happening last year at this time, Mike? We had snow on the ground. We had several inches of snow on the ground. So fast forward a year later, and today we are keeping an close eye on the potential for a few strong storms that could develop this afternoon. Of course, we're going to start with a look outside. I like to kind of set the stage here with a few breaks now beginning to develop in those clouds. It's been overcast today. We've had a lot of wind at the surface, and there's a lot of wind aloft. There's not much cape or instability. So most of the activity that we're going to see is going to be wind driven today. But any cape or any instability certainly doesn't help. Let's hope the clouds come back in and things settle down in terms of the sunshine. We don't want that. We've got enough to deal with this boundary that is going to bring a broken line of storms, and within that line we could have these little areas of spin, so a brief tornado cannot be ruled out. We've talked about it the last couple of days or so, and looking at the latest information from the National Weather Service, we still have what is called a cap. It's a kind of a lid on the atmosphere. It's beginning to erode, and once that happens, then we have a better situation for storms to develop. Let's look at radar. Let me take you on a little tour. And first of all, northwest Arkansas, the severe threat has pretty much ended for the folks in Fayetteville, Springdale, Rogers. Scott Covert and his crew keeping a close eye on what's happening up in northwest Arkansas. It's what happens with that line roughly from near Madison County southward to Polk County. We could begin to see storms redevelop within that line. What I'm seeing, it's just shower activity. I don't see any thunder, or lightning, any lightning bolts within that just yet. But that is expected to change somewhat as we head down the line. Again, we have ingredients for this marginal threat. Luckily, not a huge threat. And I'll show you the area of concern. Earlier today, the Storms Prediction Center added a few counties in northwest Arkansas with a slight risk of severe weather as the track of this low pressure wave moved away from that part of the state. We began to see things get better there, and it's back to a level 1 out of 5. So back to radar we go. Let's run you through what we're expecting, not only for the rest of the day today, but also for your Friday. Here's what's at stake today and tomorrow. We've got a risk of severe weather. Damaging winds, 60-plus mile-per-hour winds, our main concern, along with the possibility of a brief tornado. Cannot rule it out when you have a lot of wind energy at the surface and aloft. And after sunset tonight, we lose a lot of the instability, or lose what we have, but we'll also see an increase in low-level wind. It's the low-level jet begins to pick up, and those winds will be out of the south, 20, 25, 30-plus miles per hour. It's been a breezy day. So we always make sure that you're weather aware. Make sure you have a way to receive severe weather information. And Nathan Scott's with me today. We will be streaming tonight if the weather does in fact get bad. And I hope it does not, but this is just a subtle reminder that sometimes you get strong to severe thunderstorms in Arkansas in the wintertime. You just got to be prepared for it, all right? And there's a chance that this activity happens after dark. It's still coming together in western Arkansas. The showers will be quick moving. There will be some embedded strong wind gusts. So that's what's at stake today. Let's take a look at some elements that we're checking. First of all, the risk of severe weather. It's a 1 out of 5. It's a very low end threat. It's isolated threat, but don't be surprised if you see some severe thunderstorm warnings in your area. Now tomorrow, some improvement. The slight risk continues to take a track away from Arkansas, but I think a secondary area of low pressure develops with that front moving through, and that's going to push rain back across southern and central Arkansas. There could even be a strong thunderstorm with that. Not as concerned about the Friday risk, but this afternoon, because we do have some ingredients there, I'm a little more concerned about this marginal threat than I am about tomorrow's slight risk threat in southeast Arkansas. Check out these wind speeds and gusts. The sustained wind is 18 here in Little Rock with gusts of around 26 this afternoon. And you can see those lines that indicates the wind is blowing in due south to north. And then the winds bend a little back out in Oklahoma. The frontal boundary is edged into northwest Arkansas and will be pushing through the northwestern part of the state here in the next hour or so. So that's our current wind. Our temperature is shaping up like this, and here's what's important. We're in the 70s, way too warm for this time of year. Yeah. We've even got temperatures close to 80. Texarkana 76, 75 Pine Bluff. Little Rock is at 71. So that takes, that has a little bit to do with it. The warmth, the heat of the day, and dew points. This helps me to define where the deeper layer moisture is located for these storms. Got to have moisture as fuel to feed from, right? So right now those dew points are in the 60s. But if you look toward the northwestern part of Arkansas, with those dew points now dropping back into the 50s and even over into Oklahoma, that's where we're really finding this drier air mass that is moving into the state. So a couple of hours in northwestern Arkansas. For the rest of us, it's probably going to be a timeline of, let's say, between now and about 9 o'clock for central, and then after 9 o'clock for eastern Arkansas before things settle down and improvement is made. And then we'll turn our attention to that slight risk tomorrow morning. Visible satellite perspective of the region, you can see the state of Arkansas lined up there, and you see the clouds bubbling in northwest Arkansas. That's where those showers are trying to redevelop just ahead of that front. The front's a lifting mechanism. It's shoving the air mass upward, okay? Along with the winds from the south at the surface and the winds coming around the backside aloft out of the west-southwest. You've got some turning motion there, but with a lack of significant cape or instability combined with the afternoon sun angle in January, if this were March or April, it might be a different scenario. So the lack of daytime heating and the sun angle not as intense, that's going to help us a little, but we still have enough energy from just wind to bring us that chance of storms this afternoon. Visible satellite is showing that northwest Arkansas already clearing out. This is going to be a fast-moving system. Here within the next 6 hours, it should be 6 to 8 hours, should be out of the state. And behind it, you see the clearing. Some colder air is going to filter in behind this. And by the time we hit the weekend, some much colder temperatures in store. We won't be in the 70s. We'll be in the 40s and the 50s. Now, the front moves into eastern Arkansas late tonight, and it begins to slow down a bit because the next wave comes in behind. Surface low develops in Louisiana and Arkansas, and that's going to push the next chance of rain and thunder into the state. I'll show you that here in just a moment. So there's visible satellite. That's where the frontal boundary is located this afternoon. Here is your weather risk for today. It's just a broader comparison. Again, a 1 out of 5. Northwest Arkansas, they're done. Southwest Arkansas, not really in the mix. And this afternoon, as that front moves in, we'll begin to see counties drop off. This is updated by the Storms Prediction Center every few hours. We'll have another update after the newscasts tonight, and then another one toward tomorrow morning. So with that in mind, here's what we're keeping an eye on. There's not really much of a hail risk with this, but we do have winds of up to 60+ miles per hour and still that very low-end brief tornado threat. As that line moves in, those line segments of storms moving in, there could be these brief spins that occur. Those tornado warnings, if they're issued, will be quick, they'll be brief. These things will spin out, but the straight line winds, that wind aloft is going to translate down, and that's really going to be the biggest concern. So I think winds, gusty winds this afternoon with those storms as they move through your area will be, in fact, the bigger concern. Now, storm fuel, and I'm going to put my glasses back on here, Mike, if you want to take this full. Storm fuel is CAPE, or the amount of energy. It's all on the very low end. If you look at the top of the screen there, we've got low to extreme. We're going to keep that in the yellow, and it's going to drop off as we head through time. By the time we hit 9 o'clock tonight, northwest Arkansas is out of the threat, and even central Arkansas will be out, I think, by midnight, with the CAPE or the energy really dying back Friday morning. This is the European model, by the way, and it's not in line necessarily with our high-res models, so the high-res models take a lot of this out sooner rather than later, but we do have enough storm fuel for thunderstorms. Just wanted to point that out. Here's a different perspective. This is the regional satellite radar composite, and you can see that that storm system is tightly wound up. This is a vigorous area of low pressure, but this is just wave number 1. It's moving to the northeast. Right now you can see it tracking through Kansas and into Nebraska. On the backside of it, it's pulling in some cold air. So there's an area of snow developing on that western fringe, but out ahead of it, most of the wind energy is beginning to take a shot through Iowa, parts of Missouri, with a little bit of that down into Arkansas. We have just enough wind energy to give us that concern for straight line winds this afternoon. But that gives you a good idea of where the front is located, where the showers and storms are developing ahead of that front, and what we've got to happen this afternoon, or what we still are looking at happening this afternoon. There you go. The strongest activity right now is in northwest Arkansas near Madison County. If you could consider it or classify it as strong, it's really just more shower activity with some strong wind gusts. Don't see any lightning with it just yet. Let me log back into a computer here. Be right back. I'm here. Tom, right password. And there we go. I wanted to pull up Storm Track 11 in case I needed it. And yeah, we're beginning to see the emergence of more cells up toward northern Johnson, Franklin, Newton counties. So we're getting to see an emergence here. And you can see that little thin line. That's where the front is located. So it is now in northwest Arkansas. Certainly some good news there. And behind it, the severe weather threat comes to an end. So it won't last long, but it's there, and that's why I'm doing this afternoon. Okay, let's follow in time. This is the high-res model that we use. You see it every night with Nathan and I. Follow the circle. This is the greatest threat of bad weather this afternoon. Right now it's in northwest Arkansas. It's not that impressive as we head through the next couple of 3 hours. This is by 2:30. Kind of breaks apart a bit. It should come back together late afternoon. Around 3:30, 4 o'clock from western and southwestern Arkansas, we begin to see the development in central Arkansas, 5, 6 o'clock. There you go. That's 6 o'clock tonight. This is what radar could look like. And in this line, right ahead of that frontal boundary, these cells are what concerns us. If we don't get tornado warnings, we'll more than likely get severe thunderstorm warnings out of them because of the strong wind gusts. So that is 6 o'clock tonight. Going a little bit further in time, this is 6:30, 7, 8 o'clock, 7:30. That line continues to slowly move to the east. And this is just projected radar. This doesn't mean it's going to happen this way. Could be a little faster, might even be a little bit slower. But this kind of gives us a time parameter of 4, 5 to 9, 10 o'clock until the activity begins to die out. Let's hope it dies out sooner rather than later. Now, your Friday risk of severe weather. I'm not really as on board with this. I think the last few model runs, we have seen this area really come back. I know that Memphis, we have a sister station in Memphis. They have weather impact alert because there were strong signals earlier in the week for strong to severe thunderstorms in Memphis for Friday, and they've kind of backed off on that. I think they're going to keep that alert there, but this threat of severe weather has really dived south of Memphis into Mississippi, parts of Louisiana, even over into Alabama, but we still have a few counties in southwest Arkansas or southeast Arkansas that have that slight risk of severe weather. Strong thunderstorm capable of producing some damaging wind gusts. Here's the way it lines up with our hazards. The tornado threat brief, less than 2%. I think that's going to change and just really incorporate southeast Arkansas tomorrow. Still could have some hail, but more likely those wind gusts, 60+ miles per hour, could be a few areas of 70-mile-per-hour winds. So that's the outlook. Here are the impacts, all very low for tomorrow. Minimal threat for hail, for flooding, for tornadoes. That's the good news. And again, I'm doing this afternoon, and we'll be doing more of these in the future as we get closer to severe weather season. Just to remind you, make sure you have a way to receive weather information, severe weather information, THV11, THV11 Plus. Nathan and I, we're going to be along like we are this afternoon and tonight till the threat comes, at least we think, or at least we feel like the threat has diminished or has come to an end. But we will be doing this moving forward as we get into spring. We've had a nice break, and we needed a break. This was a very active year. 2025 was very active, 60 tornadoes, lots of severe thunderstorm warnings, tornado warnings. So you head out of spring into summer, and even you get a little bit of a threat in fall. This is really our first 2026 chance of severe weather, and it's a 2-day thing, today and tomorrow. This is the graph. We're going to take a look at what the graph has to say about your Friday. This is late tonight. Activity, there's the frontal boundary from Jonesboro through Texarkana. It could be a little further along than that. We take it into Friday morning. Starts off quiet with just cloud cover, but the next wave begins to come into play. And we'll see if there's enough instability, enough juice in southeast Arkansas for strong to severe thunderstorms. We could see some rain. We need the rain. Not going to complain. Need some rain. If that rain could possibly somehow get into central Arkansas. But even with the latest update of the graph, it takes a lot of this activity away from us. It moves it over into Mississippi and Alabama. We slowly clear out We'll keep a few high clouds in the forecast for late Friday into Saturday, but colder temperatures are on the way. Nathan's working on our forecast for the next 7 days, and I'll see if we can look at it here in just a moment. Projected rainfall, this is taking us all the way through Sunday, and you can see that the best likelihood of rain, as has been the case, setting up last couple of days, best case scenario for rain that could be heavy from European and GFS, is over the eastern and southeastern part of the state, where they could get a nice soaking out of all of this. So let me skip ahead here. He's still working on the forecast, but I do want to show you one thing with the extended. This is the 11-day. I don't have the 7-day uploaded. Pay attention to the numbers that are coming into play for the weekend and next week. I'll go back and redo some of this just to for those of you just joining us, checking things out this afternoon. Here's the 11-day outlook, and we usually show this at 10 o'clock at night. But I wanted to point out that we are going to get colder. These numbers may change a little behind this boundary, only in the mid-50s Saturday, upper 40s on Sunday. And then there are signs that next week, we get into the middle part of January, temperatures could be in the 40s for highs, which is what I like to see. I don't like 70s. I know that it feels good and everything, but you always have an abrupt halt whenever you get a boundary like this or a system like this that's going to come through and provide us with the chance of severe. Nobody likes it, but it's just something we got to talk about. Outside, I'm still seeing some sunshine. I don't want to see that. Hopefully, it's not going to provide us with much more in the way of instability or any more energy out there. But there's your shot outside this afternoon. Once again, watching an area to the west of central Arkansas, northwest Arkansas, more showers occurring there, maybe some thunder, some lightning up in that part of the state. We do have the threat of some strong to severe thunderstorms this afternoon. Here's radar. We have seen some light rain, some patchy drizzle develop, and now we're beginning to see signs that with the front moving in, Polk County, Mena, Scott County, Logan up to Franklin, and even Newton County, some stronger showers, or the showers are beginning to emerge. There's no lightning, no thunder, not yet, but you can have some wind with it. Yeah, could have some wind with these showers. The impacts, again, risk of severe damaging wind, an isolated tornado threat. Making sure I spelled that. Did I spell that? Yeah, I spelled it right. There you go. This is for today and tomorrow. Stay weather aware. Keep it with THV11, THV11 Plus. And if you haven't downloaded the app yet and you're new to this, THV11 Plus is an app. It's free. You can download it. Apple, you've got it on, help me out here, Mike. You've got Amazon Fire Stick. What was the other? It was the third one, Roku. That's it, Roku. And Samsung Smart TVs have the app as well that you can download. This helps keep you up to date. We stream an afternoon show at 4 o'clock. We stream all of our newscasts, morning show, and this will also give us a chance to stream our weather coverage to keep you up to date on what's happening near you. Timing of this mess, again, that's what most questions are going to be about. The timing, when does all of this begin to impact and affect you? And I'm going to take us back down to this, to the HER model and give you the timing of when things could be moving through your region. And again, it's a low in severe threat, but it's there. It's worth mentioning. It's worth, keeping an eye on. There you go. 1 o'clock. We're well beyond 1 o'clock. We're now at 2:48. Let me go back up to the other. Let's see here. So this is 2:30. And we are still seeing a little bit in the northwest. So this is fairly accurate. It's just there's a little bit more on the model page than what we're actually seeing. We go through time. We'll take you to 6 o'clock. There you go. We could begin to see a line emerge here. This concerns me. Northern Arkansas could be a supercell thunderstorm or two, but the most likely severe weather threat is going to be for straight line damaging winds for this episode. Again, very low wind, marginal threat of severe weather. The ingredients are certainly there. The wind is there for sure. Low cape or low amount of instability, but a high shear. You get those days. Maybe you've heard us talk about them before. Low cape, but high shear days Wind at the surface out of the south, 20, 25, 30 miles an hour. It'll loft some very strong wind gusts coming in on the backside of this as well. So that gives you the spin necessary. If some of that wind up there is going to begin to translate down to the surface. So there may be, if you've got some things outside that you need to make sure are secure, tie down, bring in the garage, yeah, this would be the time to do it before that line moves through. But not everybody's going to see it. Most will, with that line briefly pushing through. It was a couple of weeks ago. We had a line on the weekend on a Sunday. That line brought about a 50+ mile per hour wind that knocked power out for parts of West Little Rock. That could be the scenario. Not looking at power lines or I should say trees falling on power lines or anything like that, but it could occur. The ground's not saturated. It's fairly dry, so the wind's not going to push trees over, but some of the dead tree limbs could fall on power lines, and that could cause power outages. All right, so that is a look at radar. I'm not real happy about that. Let me find one more. Yeah, okay. Not going to do that either. All right, so there we go. There we are this afternoon. It is currently 2:50, and I think we're just going to wrap things up here. I wanted to come on here for just a few minutes. Things are not bubbling yet. We'll be along again at 4 o'clock this afternoon. Faith Woodard, Brooke Buckner, myself will have quite a bit to talk about in the world of weather. Once again, things are not popping up yet. They did this morning, and they're expected to do so again this afternoon. So with that, here at 2:51, we will leave you from here, and we will see you once again at 4 o'clock. If we have anything quickly develop, we'll be back on between now and 4. But we'll see you then. Take care.